All right, I'm going to kick it over to David Reese, who's going to be our moderator for the evening.
Thank you so much, Marcy, and good evening to our PGCPS family members who are joining us this evening for a very special Welcome Back to School Special Education Town Hall meeting. I'm very excited about the information that you're going to receive tonight. We have some awesome folks who are going to respond to some questions that many of you submitted before the town hall, and you can see their faces there. When we get to that part of the presentation, each of them will introduce themselves and give you a lot of good awesome information. So our real purpose tonight is to make sure that we're helping families prepare for the upcoming school year, and you leave with lots of tips and resources so that you can have a very strong start to your school year. And we're excited to have you all here. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the baton to Trinell Bowman, who is our Associate Superintendent for the Department of Special Education.
Thank you so much, David. Good evening, families. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, school-based staff. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation. We'd first like to thank all of our Board of Education members for their unwavering support for special education, as well as Superintendent House. We'd like to start with some highlights for this evening around special education. We are so excited to release our Strategic Plan 2.0 that will be released on September 6, 2024. The Strategic Plan 2.0 builds upon the work that we had done with our first strategic plan that was from 2019 to 2023. It really addresses our gaps, and based on our identified stakeholder input, we also looked at performance data, compliance indicators. We also interviewed various families to get their feedback on our draft plan. And we also know that these are overarching priorities that we have identified based on the mission and vision of our district. The plan also aligns with our T26 plan, which is our Prince George's County Public Schools strategic plan. It aligns with our Maryland State Department of Education Special Education strategic plan, as well as our blueprint.
And Trinell, before we move forward into getting a little bit deeper into our special education tips, I think we wanted to just get a sense of who's in the room and who we have with us today. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll.
Absolutely. So we have our first poll to figure out a little bit of who is in the room. And the question is, who do we have in the room? Please tell us who you are. Select one of the boxes. You can be a parent, guardian, or family member. The second box is PGCPS employee. The third box is community member. And the last box is other. So take a moment to let us know how you would like to identify tonight. We have 172 participants, so I'm itching to see. I just can't wait to see who's showing up in the room this evening. And Marcy, whenever you're ready, go ahead and launch those poll results. Okay, look at that. 82% of the over 170 people here tonight are parents, guardians, and family members. Thank you all for being here to learn more about how to support your child as we collaborate with you this year. We have about 18% of folks who are PGCPS employees who might also have families and students enrolled in the school system. So thank you for giving us that info. Trinell, back. Actually, it's not back to you yet. Faux pas on my part. The second question we have is, what is the grade level of your student? What grade level is your student? That is a drop-down box. So you can select your answer by clicking the arrow on the right and then selecting the choice that makes the most sense for you. Some of you might have multiple children or students. That's okay. Just select one grade. And there are 184 of you in here tonight, so more people are coming in. This is awesome. And I have a guess. I think I'm gonna guess what grade level shows up the most. I'm not gonna tell you what my guess is unless it's correct. All right, Marcy, what do we have? Okay, it looks like elementary K through 5, almost half, 48% are coming from elementary K through 5. The pre-K young ones who are about to start school for the first time, 6%. Middle grades are 16%, and high schoolers are at 30%. Thank you all for letting us know, and thank you all for supporting the poll and giving us some information about who is in the room.
Thank you all so much. The other thing we're excited to share with you is a special education toolkit resource for our parents and families. This is so wonderful that you will now have a one-stop shop toolkit for all resources for parents. We will be linking that on our PGCPS website, and we hope that you find the toolkit very helpful. The toolkit was built upon feedback that we received from our Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee and other parents in our district. We will also continue for any newly identified families who have students with disabilities from early childhood on up to grade 12. If your child has been identified for the first time with an IEP, you will receive a welcome packet. Your welcome packet will provide you with the IEP guide, suggested questions to prepare for your meeting, IEP meeting checklist, how to resolve disagreement, among other topics. So we will continue to send out that welcome letter to any new families who have children that are identified with a disability in our district. The other thing that we have gotten feedback on from both our Board of Education members as well as other family members is to really look at how we're engaging our families. And so this year, beginning on September 3rd, 2024, we are launching a new IEP parent survey. This will give opportunities for parents to share their perceptions, their expressions of what's happening during the IEP meetings, as well as the special ed process. This is wonderful for us to be able to look at the data that we will receive, to be able to really look at any identified areas of need and growth within our school teams. The data that we will gather for the survey will be anonymous. So parents and guardians, when you submit the survey, it will be anonymous. The only two questions that we will be asking that's specific to your child is their grade level and the school that they attend. This data will then be shared on a periodic basis with leadership in our district, as well as principals and our area office. And now I'm so excited to turn this part of the presentation over to Jason Ray, who is from our Equity, Diversity, and Belonging Office. Jason.
Good evening, and thank you so much for that introduction, Ms. Bowman. The Department of Equity, Diversity, and Belonging is pleased to share that this year's equity focus area is on identifying, honoring, and nurturing the unique brilliance of students with disabilities. We've been partnering intensively with the Department of Special Education to design some really high impact professional learning for all staff around this focus area. And we are currently underway. Just last week, we concluded our Superintendent's Summer Learning Series, which began in June. The series was open to all staff to attend on a completely voluntary basis, and it was actually facilitated by staff as well. And we were very fortunate to have had many staff join us over their summer break. It also served as the foundation for our all-staff Systemic PD Day that's coming up on September 16th. And on this day, all staff across the district will engage in a full day of learning about students with disabilities, with a focus on reflecting upon and learning from the perspectives of our students, staff, and families. All schools and offices will then generate some next steps for their sites based on how they or what they learn on that day, which will carry on throughout the year and beyond. Our planning team is committed to including authentic constituent voice in everything that we do, including the All-Staff PD Day. On that day, we're going to hear from a recent graduate with a disability. We're going to hear from families of current students with disabilities. We're going to hear from current students with disabilities themselves, and teachers and support staff who serve students with disabilities. And all of these perspectives are so valuable for us in creating awareness of the strengths, needs, and unique brilliance of students with disabilities to inform our next steps. During our planning process, we heard from 3 different families, and we actually accumulated over 2 hours of video. So we're going to share 15 minutes of that with all staff on our Systemic PD Day, but we wanted to give you tonight just a little portion of it to highlight some advice that we got from families that we're going to share with our staff. Can we go ahead and play that?
So when I tell you every hurdle I've had, it doesn't go above what every victory we've had in PG County, honestly. And I get emotional because Kennedy Krieger told me she would probably make it as far as a 6th grader. You know what I mean? In understanding, in her abilities and everything. And a 6th grader can live on their own. A 6th grader can work. So what the system has done, it's working. Like 6th grade, I see her beyond 6th grade. I see her making decisions for her life. And don't let anybody put a limit on your child. Nobody. Because when I heard that from Kennedy Creek, I was like, oh my gosh, my child is going to be a basket case. I don't know what they're going to do. No, there's no limit. No limit. Everybody's going to be something in this world that has a place in it.
So as you can see, some very powerful perspectives. And it's amazing for us to think about 18,000 staff listening to this on September 16th and all the insights they're going to gain and the new passion they're going to find for this. So there's much more to come, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year of learning. Ms. Bowman, I'll pass the mic back to you.
Thank you so much. And now we'd like to share some tips for you as you prepare for the 24-25 school year. The first thing that we would like to encourage you to do is to schedule a quick meet and greet. There will be several opportunities coming up within the next week for you to be able to introduce yourself to your child's IEP case manager, especially if this is the first time working with them. The other thing that we always recommend our Family Support Center is that you create an IEP folder or binder or some type of organizational system so that you can make sure that throughout the year, if there's any communication you're getting related to your child's IEP, progress reports, assessment reports, work samples, etc., that you maintain copies of that for your records. The other big thing that we know is coming up is a lot of transitions. The great thing that Prince George's has done with our calendar is built in orientation dates for those students who are entering kindergarten, 6th grade, and 9th grade. We have prepared some social stories to help support students that are transitioning at the elementary and secondary level. When you receive a copy of the PowerPoint, you will be able to access the link, and we will also be posting this PowerPoint on our website tomorrow. So this just gives you an idea around a social story that really supports students with transitioning, again, to elementary school. And it just gives you some example of the language that we provide in the social story. The other tip that we would like to share with you is that we know each year at a minimum, we are doing an annual review with you and your child to look at the progress that your child is making and make any type of revisions. Some of you may be new to the IEP process and your child was just identified last school year. We encourage you to review your child's IEP, the goals, the objectives, supplementary aids and services as you prepare for the new school year. We also encourage you to reach out again to your child's IEP case manager or the professional school counselor early on. If you notice at all that your child is struggling with a new grade or information that they're learning, we want to make sure that we're troubleshooting ahead of the game. And our school, in turn, will do the same thing. So we want you to just be aware if you notice any signs of struggle that your child may be having with adjusting to a new grade or new school. We know that it's very important to maintain regular ongoing communication with our families and parents, and we also encourage you to do the same thing. If there are any issues or concerns that need to be addressed, please bring those issues to the attention of the school team immediately. The other tip we would share with you is that some Phone numbers might have changed. Your email addresses may have been changed. Please make sure your school has the most up-to-date contact information for you, such as your telephone numbers and email addresses. And as we prepare to open schools, you'll be hearing a lot more of those reminders from your school principals. For our youngest learners, our preschool students and kindergarten students, particularly those students who are nonverbal, as the bus driver arrives at your school on the first day, please make sure that you label your child's book bag or place a sticker on their shirt so that our bus drivers can quickly identify who your child is, because it may be the first time that they're meeting them, as well as our school team. Help your child establish routines and schedules. So just think about those structures you want to have at home, helping them stay organized, getting ready for school as it relates to them completing their tasks and assignments. And then the other piece, you've heard a lot of information, those of you who have been in Prince George's last school year, about our transportation updates. Those families that are new to us, we have a lot of communication on our website, but there is a PGCPS parent view that you can actually be able to see your child's schedule on. The Department of Transportation is working to get postcards out with your bus assignments, which will be mailed beginning next week during the week of August 19th. Again, please contact the Family Support Center for any information, resources, and helping you understand special ed services, procedures, and policies. The Family Support Center in the Department of Special Education is here to help you. And now I'm going to transition it back to Marcy Toran, who will go over our overview of our Family Support Center.
Thank you, Trinell. Again, my name is Marcy Torshin, and I'm with the Family Support Center. And we're really excited that you're here tonight. We think this is a great kickoff to the school year. And I want to let you know a little bit about our Family Support Center. So we are here specifically to help parents and families of students with disabilities. We provide a wealth of information about specific disabilities, in particular, connecting families with community services and helping develop those relationships with those community partners. One of the big things we do is try to help resolve concerns that you may have related to your child's individualized education program or IEP. And another thing that we have is a lot of resources and connections to outside agencies that we will use to help you make informed decisions regarding your child's education. So how do we do all of that? A lot of what we do is through workshops. We have a workshop calendar throughout the year. We also offer specific support groups. One that we've had running for the past couple of years is for families and parents of students with challenging behaviors. We provide individual consultations to review draft IEPs and review current IEPs if you have any questions. One of the things we also do is attend IEP meetings with parents. We know that experience can be somewhat overwhelming, and just kind of supporting you through that process to help you establish some questions and then supporting you in the IEP meeting. We do a lot of community outreach and community partnerships. We are a constant presence at the school systems conference and resource fairs. We have a quarterly newsletter that comes out. And a lot of what we do is also just resource and information dissemination. So how can you find us? We are under the special education website on the PGCPS website. So if you go to the academics page and then click on special education, you will then find the Family Support Center card. We have a couple things we want to point out here. As with tonight's presentation, a lot of our informational presentations are recorded, and we post those to our Family Support Center YouTube. We tend to advertise on our X page on our Family Support Center, formerly known as Twitter. And then we also have links there where you can follow and subscribe both pages so that you're up to date on all of our information. So one of the ways we get information out is our Family Support Center listserv. There's a QR code here if you'd like to take a minute to scan it. And when we send the PowerPoint out, we'll also have the link to sign up to that registration. Give you information on community events. A lot of times community partners will send us information and then we'll in turn send it to you. conference and resource fairs, all of our workshops, a lot of resources and information. We typically send out 1 to 2 emails a month, so it's not a ton of information coming to you like every day, but we do send it out 1 to 2 times a month. And then I want to introduce you to our staff. Dr. Beth Hare is our instructional specialist. She is also a board certified behavior analyst and a former teacher. On with me tonight, we have Angela Salmaran Hernandez, who is our bilingual parent liaison. Myself, I'm a program coordinator, and then Miss Yvette Young, who is the social worker in our office. Our office is located at John Carroll Building, which is by FedEx Stadium. We're in room 3, so you are welcome to make an appointment for a consultation with us in person. And again, here's our telephone number and our listserv registration, and I'll leave that up for just a second. So if you would like to, you can scan the QR code.
And now I'd like to highlight a few of our Prince George's County Public Schools family resources. Our first resource is our PGCPS First Day Back to School Guide. This is a one-stop shop for all things you need to know as families of Prince George's County Public Schools. If you go through the guide, they have everything from immunization, transportation, systemic calendars. Again, they've done an amazing job really creating a one-stop shop for you so that you have all the up-to-date information you need to know to get ready for school. The other thing we wanted to share with you is that Prince George's County Public Schools does have a parents page that's available to you. If you look at the top of our actual landing page for pgcps.org, you'll notice at the very top, there's a parents link at the top of the web page so that you can access resources. There's a variety, again, of resources available to you. We also have on that site if you scroll towards the middle, a special education parents page as well. So a lot of good resources for you available there. Several of you in your questions asked about tutoring options that would be available to your child. So we have provided you with the tutoring instructional support opportunities. If you go to the Division of Academics and click on the top of the page, you'll be able to scroll to special programs and supports. Within those cards, you'll see a card for tutoring instructional support opportunities. Those tutoring opportunities are available to all Prince George's County students at no cost to you. The other thing that we wanted to share with you is that we are partnering with the Special Education Advisory Committee known as CCAC this school year. CCAC provides a variety of topics and information for families, but we will also be partnering with them to host a variety of town hall meetings. CCAC, again, provides partnership and opportunity for parent voice. We really want to seek meaningful input and to make sure that we are addressing the needs of our families. CCAC will actively collect parent input throughout the school year and then provide a report at the end of the year to Prince George's County Public Schools. I wanted to point out a few of the topics for you. We meet on the last Tuesday of the month. You see the dates indicated here. The first topic will be on resolving concerns. We got a lot of questions from families around how do I resolve concerns with the school team if we don't agree? And so we'll be kicking that off on September 24th. We also are going to have 4 additional town halls besides the one this evening. And I'm going to show you a save the date in just a moment on the next slide. On November 19th, there was a lot of questions even registering for this town hall for information around special education programs and the IEP process. So we're going to be doing a deep dive of that on November 19th. On February 25th, we're going to be talking about school transitions and resources. So students transitioning from pre-K to elementary to middle to high, and then students exiting our school system. And then in April, we're going to focus on autism and mental health awareness. These are the dates that we have planned to partner with CCAC. We really want to hear your voice. And so we are going to be working through these town halls on October 22nd, January 28th, March 25th, and May 27th. They definitely will be interactive town halls. We may have breakout sessions, etc., but we really want to hear your voice. And as I indicated, CCAC will be delivering a final report to special education department, as well as our executive leadership of our district. The other big thing we wanted to make sure you had handy is our special education resolution contact list. Sometimes you just have a question and you're wondering, who do I call for the answer? And so again, we do have a resolution contact list that includes what the problem may be, who the resolution contact is, along with the phone number and the email address. This particular resolution contact team does extend beyond the Department of Special Education. So we do have colleagues listed from health services, pupil accounting and school boundaries, transportation, among other offices. So we have developed this contact list so that you can have a handy document to be able to help and support you in resolving your issues. And now I'm going to turn it back over to our moderator.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Trinell. So families who are out there, there's a lot of rich information that you received. You know where to find the Department of Special Education and how to contact people to get your questions answered. We're about to engage in a question and answer process. And we have lots of questions that many of you submitted, and I'm going to read through a few of them and get our panelists to answer. So if, as it happens, I always, like when people start asking questions, I realize, wow, I have a question about something else now. So if you're one of those family members and something comes up, write it down, because at the end of the session in the next day or two, you receive an email that gives you a lot of resources and the opportunity to pose those questions that came up for you tonight, because we are not able to capture them from you in this current setup. So hold those questions and know that you can submit them. So I would like to take an opportunity to stop talking and allow each panelist to introduce themselves to you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Trinell Bowman, Associate Superintendent for Special Education.
Good evening. I'm Camille Johnson, the Coordinating Supervisor for the K-12 Instruction Office in the Department of Special Education.
Hi, I'm Dorothea Copeland. I'm the
Angela
instructional
Sumron. I'm the
supervisor.
parent liaison for the Family Support Center.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dorothea Copeland. I'm the instructional supervisor for support programs and related services. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Susan Harris-Lorick. I'm instructional specialist for the 504 office.
Greetings. My name is Michelle Blakey-Tuggle, Coordinating Supervisor with the Instructional Supports Assessment and Accountability Office within the Department of Special Education.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Brandon Thompson. I am the 504 Instructional Specialist.
Good evening. I'm Doreen Hogan, Supervisor for the Office of School Counseling and Section 504.
Thank you all so much. And if you're one of our interpreters, please take a moment to introduce yourselves to those you're interpreting for, because your work here is very much valued and appreciated this evening. Okay, without further ado, I am now going to move to the very first question that's going to be for Ms. Trinell Bowman. So lots of good questions came in, and this one is, why do we have to take our children to outside medical appointments to get them diagnosed when they are above the age of 5 in order for them to be eligible for an IEP?
Thank you for that question. So we want parents to understand, and family members and guardians, that the right for you to have an evaluation is free at no cost to you under the Individuals with Disability Education Act. If at any time you suspect that your child has a disability, there is a process that we follow at the school level to determine if your child qualifies for special education services under an individualized education program. The school must be responsive to that request and convene an IEP meeting to further discuss the issues. Every school in Prince George's County has either a special education chairperson, an IEP facilitator, or a special education coordinator. As a parent, guardian, or family member, if you suspect your child has a disability, that is the person that you want to reach out to the school, and they will walk you through the process.
Thank you so much. And our next question is going to be for Dr. Dorothea Copeland. Will speech therapy services continue to be delivered virtually, or will they be delivered in person?
Thanks for that question, David. Prince George's County Public Schools Department of Special Education's primary obligation is to identify, evaluate, and provide services to all students ages birth through 21 who have an educational disability that impacts that student's ability to access the general education curriculum and/or their functional performance. In a concerted effort to ensure that we're able to meet this goal and in light of extensive vacancies, Prince George's County Public Schools will continue to use innovative methods to meet the needs of students. Virtual services allows for our school district to expand its pool of available providers in order to meet the needs of students with a positive outcome.
Thank you so much. And our next question, I'm going to read this question, Dr. Brandon Thompson. I'm going to read it as it was written. And the question is, what qualifies a child for a 504 plan in a specialty school? But this should be the same answer regardless of the school that you're in PGCPS. So what's the answer to that question?
Great question. So here in PGCPS, there's only one process of how a child is qualified or deemed eligible for a 504. So if a child has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more of their bodily life functions, then that student is eligible for a 504. And that's regardless if they go to a charter school, a specialty school, or just within the neighborhood boundary schools. So we just have one process. So it's not based upon the school if that child has a limitation that's substantial.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And Ms. Blakey Tuggle, I noticed in the Who's in the Room poll that about 30% of the respondents of the families were people who were in high school. So I wonder how many of them are ninth graders. And then we had about 6%, maybe 16%, I'm sorry, of our population that came from middle school. So this question is, how are students with IEPs provided with transition services from middle school to high school?
Thank you. Transition services for students with IEPs ages 14 moving from middle school to high school are designed to support a smooth and successful shift. As students approach high school, IEP teams hold transition planning meetings to establish goals and outline necessary steps. These meetings involve the students, their parents or guardians, teachers, and other relevant professionals. The IEP is then updated to include a detailed transition plan focusing on academic goals, social skills, and vocational or career planning tailored to the student's unique needs, strengths, and interests. Career exploration is a key component of transition services, and our middle school career clubs play a crucial role in this preparation by promoting disability awareness, self-advocacy skills, and career exploration opportunities very early on. So we start in middle school.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And the next question is also going to be for you. In Prince George's County, we've really increased our emphasis on supporting mental health and wellness. And so the question is, what is the plan for proactive mental and behavioral health interventions for students this year?
Thank you again for that question. Each school has a position or a mental health clinician. These clinicians are contracted through 12 community organizations to support students' mental and behavioral needs in the school settings. Through the Maryland Consortium on Coordinated Community Support Schools, there have been an increase of training for staff on mental health, first aid, and trauma-sensitive responses. Hazel Health is also able to provide telehealth services and teletherapy to students at no cost to families. Students can meet with mental health professionals and/or medical professionals at school or at home. Sources of strengths will be implemented in 30 of our schools this year, and in the next 3 to 5 years, it would be implemented in all of our PGCPS schools. Sources of strength is an upstream suicide prevention program that uses the latest research.
Thank you so much. And the key word I heard there was no cost. Hazel Health available at no cost. This is really, really important to the families out there. So if you want to know more about that, you know who you should reach out to. The next question I want to keep us rolling is for Ms. Camille Johnson. What resources are available to support twice exceptional students? And twice exceptional students are students who are talented and gifted and also have an identified disability in a category. And Camille Johnson, you are on mute. I can't wait to hear your answer. So excited.
I
There you
am.
go.
I'm just getting ready to get started. So that is absolutely correct, that our talented and gifted programs are available to our students who are both identified with an exceptionality as well as having a disability. And so it's a exceptionality across the board, right? And they're located in both our boundary school programs, and we have talented and gifted centers or schools that are designed to meet those unique and specialized needs of our students, that students who are highly able and to be able to be included. So with that, through the appropriate research-based and gifted education services, they can be educated in a learning environment in which the instructional strategies are geared towards their intellectual gift and that are utilized. They're differentiated. The curriculum is meant for them, and it's acceleration and enrichment opportunities that are available for all of our students. And it also supports their social and emotional needs, because my exceptionality might come with those challenges where I balance my gift as well as my disability that seems to impact me, right? And in addition, our twice exceptional students will receive individualized services. Their supplemental aids and accommodations that are outlined in their individualized educational programs or 504 plans. They can also include supports for academics that addresses, again, that social, emotional, and behavioral needs that may impact a student's learning. Prince George's County Public Schools, our talented and gifted team is a phenomenal team, and they have worked to really identify for us 5 pillars of twice exceptional students. And they look at strength-based instruction, alternative methods for determining mastery, self-advocacy, self-regulation, and self-efficacy. Our students are what we like to call our 2E, twice exceptional students, are provided with supports in all of these areas from our elementary school programs through high school. And schools and families can enlist the support from our 2E office at all. And particularly, we have a twice exceptional resource teacher that works in conjunction with our talent and gifted office, as well as from out of the Department of Special Education. And that's Miss Mayanne DeLeon. And parents can email her, and it's either Mayanne DeLeon at PGCPS. And I'll go ahead and spell because it's MYANNE. .deleon at PGCPS in any time in order to get help or access supports and services and to get access through the curriculum. So
thank you so much. I love that question. And I know we only have 20 minutes left, but I have to take moderator's privilege to make sure the families know that in PGCPS, we have a mission and vision statement that talks about the unique brilliance that is in each and every student. And it is our job to make sure that we harness that brilliance and ensure that it flourishes. We're very serious about that. So when we have our Systemic PD Day, know that we'll be talking about students with disabilities and challenging our staff and our communities to recognize how every single student has brilliance inside of him, her, or them. And it's our job to start conversations with what's strong with your children and our students. And now I'm going to get us back to the questions in the Q&A. And the next one is going to be for Dr. Copeland. So now that there is passion that came through in these questions, and I want to read this one with the passion with which it was written. What are the schools doing to ensure there is a speech and language pathologist on staff consistently?
I appreciate that question, David, and I appreciate how you sent it to me with passion, because I want to see if I can bounce that passion back, because the truth of the matter is, this is one of the questions that I live for, I struggle with, I sometimes have sleepless nights over, I have energizing ideas about, and we are doing things tangible to provide the best possible scenarios to having consistent services from our speech language pathologists. At this point, we have a critical shortage. It's not just us that is experiencing the shortage, but this is a national shortage of speech and language pathologists. And not only is there a shortage, but we also know that there is a growing reduction in the pool of on-site providers. And so that directly impacts how we are able to deliver our services. We know that in our school district alone, we have a 25% vacancy in school-based speech language pathologists. So to supplement these vacancies, we have contracted with local and national private staffing agencies to provide licensed speech language pathologists, both on-site as well as virtual, and to mitigate these shortages to the greatest extent, given the resources that are available to us. We are currently in the process of releasing an additional request for proposals to secure additional contracts with additional vendors so that we can have additional providers for our students. And in the long term, we've started to work closely with cooperative partnerships with our local universities around research, practicum experiences, and also incentives that will attract talented providers in order to reduce that vacancy gap that we're currently experiencing. So I hope I delivered that with passion, and thank you for giving it to me with passion.
Absolutely, you did. And I know you take this work very seriously, and I know that you're doing all that you can to be innovative to meet the needs of the students who we are serving. So thank you. And for Ms. Bowman, how long does it take for a student to be tested after a parent initiates the process? Really
Thank you
good.
for that. Yes, very good question. There are a lot of timelines in special education, and sometimes it can be very confusing understanding when do we meet the 30-day timeline, 60-day timeline, or 90-day timeline. So I definitely appreciate that question. And so the IEP team must complete an initial evaluation for a student that is suspected of having a disability within 90 calendar days from receiving the written referral. This means that at the point in time, either the teacher or the parent provides that written referral, we have 90 days to complete the initial evaluation. In order for us to really meet that timeline, an IEP meeting must be scheduled as soon as possible to allow sufficient time for us to conduct the evaluation process. It may include completing required assessments. If we have to complete required assessments, you as a parent or guardian is required to give us consent before we can initiate any of those assessments. Once we get your consent, we then have to review, and we have 60 days of the written consent to complete the assessments and then reconvene the IEP team and share with you those results.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Lots of timelines or lots of ways where it can get confusing and overwhelming, but we are here to partner with you to alleviate the stress and get you through the process. All right, the next question is for Marcy Torshin. How does the county plan to accommodate families that are not familiar with IEP procedures and programs, which would be a lot of people?
Yeah, thank you, David. I always say that we speak education-ese. We have our own terminology, right? That not everybody uses. And so in the Family Support Center, our mission really is to provide information and resources about disabilities, increase the awareness of community services, assist families in understanding that IEP process and resolving concerns, and really connecting parents with resources. Our goal from the Family Support Center is to make parents and families empowered and able to make informed educational decisions and really strengthen those collaborative relationships with our community partners. So Trinell mentioned it briefly in our opening PowerPoint, but coming soon, our Family Support Center is going to have available for all families what we call a special education toolkit. And that toolkit is going to provide our families with easily accessible information on special education policies, procedures, resources. We'll have information and external and internal links to federal and state laws and regulations, PGCPS policies and administrative procedures. One of the things we really take pride in is that we are available for individual consultations to also support families through the IEP process. And like you said, David, we want to partner with families and make sure that they are as empowered in that process as possible.
Absolutely. And in thinking about all the questions that came in, we know that we have people who are interpreting from the spoken English language tonight. Thank you all for your hard work that you're doing for us. And there was a question about Latino and Hispanic families. How can we ensure that they have access to all of the information that they need about special education?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. Part of it is right here, right now. We have Angela Salmaron, who is in our office, who is our bilingual parent liaison. And she is there to support our Latinx and Hispanic families in navigating this process. Because it's understanding not only a different terminology, but understanding it in a different language. Additionally, all of our resources and PowerPoints are available in translated versions. And when we post recordings to our YouTube, we also post them with captioning in multiple languages so that they're able to access our conferences and workshops and recordings as well.
Thank you so much for that additional information. And for Camille Johnson, this question is about carryover work or homework. So what are some ways that schools can assist parents with carryover work when the children bring it home?
David, this is probably one of they're all great questions, but this is my favorite, not just as an educator, but as a parent, right? As a parent. And so that question of what happens when the child comes home and those assignments that are there. And remember, homework or carryover work, as the question was posed, are assignments that are provided to offer additional practice opportunities for students with the subject matter. And our schools can really work to support our parents with those work opportunities to be able to support their children in many ways. First, schools can provide parents with easy to understand instructions for accessing our Canvas site, where parents, where our curriculum materials and documents are housed when they have homework. So in there, they can find the objectives from the lesson for the day, the expected outcomes, those instructional notes and due dates and assignments can all be located. So making sure parents know where to go to access that information is so critically important. And secondly, schools can also assist with improving habits of managing the necessary materials or that student might need to make sure that materials are actually going home with children. So can we assist with workbooks and manipulatives and providing of digital resources to ensure that what they need is actually at home with them when it's time to complete the assignment. And additional in support that I think is really, you've heard some about of it tonight, is providing parents with information regarding the various offices and educational support and resources that we do have available in Prince George's County to assist our parents. And our Family Support Center, as Ms. Torchin has talked about tonight. And we also have our parent and family engagement offices that have vital resources that can be accessed free of charge by our parents for students in Prince George's County. So I think there's a wealth of resource. And as a parent, I know I took advantage of it. So I hope your parents will too.
Awesome. Lots of resources are available to you. You don't have to do it alone. So please take advantage of all that's available. And the next question is another big one. And this is big across the country. For Trinell Bowman, how is PGCPS addressing special education teacher vacancies? And this is important because we know that sometimes it takes multiple adults in a building to support some of our students who are coming with special needs. So it's critical that we hear more about how we're addressing the teacher shortage.
So one of the big things that we continue to do is partner with our Department of Human Resources to really address our vacancies through various initiatives that includes attracting and retaining qualified educators. We support the Department of Human Resources at recruitment events throughout our district and out of state as well. We also participate in virtual opportunities that we can look to retain those pool of candidates. We also implement our Retire Rehire program that allows those teachers who have previously retired from our district to be able to return back to the classroom. We also are initiating Growing Your Own programs that really allow folks like our paraprofessionals to be able to transition from a para position to a teacher position with support, particularly for those paras who have those degrees already. We also are partnering with local colleges and universities, again, to really look at the recruitment efforts. to provide those supports through our K-12 continuum. This summer, we actually hosted a problem of practice opportunity with local school districts in Maryland and local districts around the country, from New York City Public Schools to LA Unified, participated in our problem of practice to really think about the things that we're thinking about and to see if there was additional innovative strategies that we can think about that other districts across the country and in Maryland are implementing. We also are working with our teams to make sure that we have an onboarding process and a mentoring process as new teachers are hired through our process. Please keep in mind that schools must provide you with a vacancy letter if a special education teacher or related service provider position is vacant. The principal will send you a letter and describe the vacancy and how they're doing and what they're doing in the interim to support your child until the position is filled. We also are required to hold what we call individualized education program impact meetings to look at the impact potentially that may have existed if we have a vacancy. And so that is more information that you will hear from your school teams if your child is impacted by a vacancy.
Thank you so much for that. And shameless plug, my office is in the Division of Human Resources. If you are one of the family members out there, if you know someone who you think is well suited to join us in Prince George's County, please have them visit pgcps.org or email me directly, david.rease@pgcps. And I'm so serious, we can help find the right fit if you know good quality people who are out there. Next question is for Dr. Brandon Thompson. Do 504 plans support students with food allergies requiring EpiPens?
That's a question we get often. So a 504 plan can support a student who has food allergies that requires an EpiPen. You know, under the law, it states that a student with allergies, it could be considered substantially limited if it causes a student not to breathe or, you know, things, they eat it and have a huge, allergic reaction. So additionally, a student can also have a plan, an emergency care plan with a nurse, which goes into details of what the school should do and how they should, call 911 or the procedures that should take. And so, of course, a student can have a 504, but they also can have an emergency care plan too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We've got a few more questions that we're going to try to chop through, but do due diligence to them. So Dorothea Copeland, there is an overdue critical need to address language deprivation in our deaf and hard of hearing schools. How are we addressing language with the deaf and hard of hearing programs?
Thanks for that question, David. Prince George's County Public Schools is genuinely committed to improving the outcomes for all of our students within our school district. Our deaf and hard of hearing population currently comprises approximately 0.67% of the total special education student population. However, that has not impacted our pledge to direct human resources, fiscal resources towards research, professional development to staff, and resources for students in their instructional setting. As a school district, we understand that addressing this need requires really a two-pronged approach. One is to addressing the needs of parents and ensuring that they have an awareness of language acquisition and programming. The second one is direct programming to students when they are with us during the school year or the school day even. In our strategic plan, we have dedicated a specific action step to addressing programmatic features to our deaf and hard of hearing program. We're also entering into our second year of collaborative partnership with Gallaudet University, and this has included program evaluation related to instruction in the first year, and the second year is going to consist of professional learning and tiered coaching for instructional personnel. So we are currently exploring how we can work to influence greater parent awareness and access to the supports to American Sign Language to improve students' establishment of a dominant language.
Thank you so much. And I learned so much through these interactions with the special education team. We have still almost 200 people in the room, so people are holding on and want to get lots of good questions answered. The next one, Ms. Trinell Bowman, is about self-contained classrooms. What is the process for putting children into these classrooms?
So the first piece that parents need to understand is that we offer a continuum of placement options as it relates to a child's IEP, and the IEP team, including you as parents and guardians, will convene a meeting to discuss those placement options, but it's really the IEP team that makes the decisions on what environment the IEP can be implemented in, which includes a self-contained classroom.
Thank you so much. And as I was trying to multitask here to get all my questions in, the next question is going to be for Ms. Camille Johnson. How do we ensure that teachers are following the IEP and giving students all of their accommodations?
Thanks, David. Well, we are at that point in the year. This is PEEP, so all of our new teachers have just arrived this week, and all of our classroom teachers will be here on Monday. And the way we start off the year is with professional development sessions. That annually we provide those sessions to ensure teachers are fully aware of their responsibilities in support of students with disabilities. So case management is a critical component. That's a part about it. And it's also important for our general education teachers to understand their role. So each of the schools with our schools must develop within them a systems and structure to monitor the provision of accommodations and modifications, the supplemental aids and services that are outlined in a child's individualized educational program. And so parents can be sure that they should be informed if their child has received those accommodations through various methods. Schools can use accommodation stickers. We've developed data sheets to monitor progress, or write the actual accommodations on the student's work to ensure there's transparency so that it goes home with the student. Additionally, school-based teams are required quarterly to provide review of the student's progress towards their IEP goals. And so if a student is not making progress, the IEP team can reconvene to determine whether the accommodations are being implemented effectively or if the IEP needs to be adjusted. So the particularly important is that if a student is not accepting the accommodation, we want the team to reconvene to have those conversations with parents to talk about what are the accommodations that are on the IEP. And do we need to adjust them? Do we need to make those shifts to ensure? So they can always work with that school team to ensure that those accommodations are happening.
Thank you so much for that answer. We've got 2 more questions we're going to get to tonight. What training, strategies, and supports are being provided to help general education teachers understand invisible disabilities? And I want to give that one to Michelle.
Thank you. Well, we provide a wealth of professional learning opportunities for all teachers. However, general education teachers are really provided with access to professional learning, specifically on the providing specially designed instruction to ensure that they have an understanding of their role in delivering accommodations, supplemental aids, and services to students across all disability categories, including but not limited to ADHD, autism spectrum disorders, learning disabilities, anxiety disorders, and any other mental health conditions that a student may have.
Thank you so much for that response. We've had so many questions I wanted to get to tonight, but we were not able to. But hopefully you all took lots of good notes and you have more questions that you have for the team.